"Ma'am, you now legally owe me $350 in back rent for living in my garage." That's what I told the HOA Karen who had terrorized our neighborhood for 8 years. The look on her face? Absolutely priceless. She went from smug and entitled to completely speechless in about 2 seconds flat. This woman thought she could park her BMW in my garage whenever she wanted, hand out bogus fines like Halloween candy, and basically treat me like her personal doormat. What she didn't realize: her arrogance had accidentally made her my tenant, under state law. So yeah, she owed me rent. By day 5, she was practically begging to pay just to get her car back. Let me walk you through exactly how Karen's own entitlement became her downfall. My name's Jake. I'm a 34-year-old IT contractor. 3 months ago, I moved into my late grandmother's home in Pine Ridge, a modest 1960s ranch house with white shutters, a detached single-car garage, and just enough space for someone trying to start over. I was coming off a messy divorce. Emotionally wrecked. Financially tapped out. I needed peace. The house? Perfect. The neighborhood? Quiet. The H&A? A nightmare. Enter Karen Whitmore. 52 years old, 8 years as HOA treasurer, and the kind of person who treated a clipboard like a weapon of mass destruction. She drove a spotless white BMW X5 and wore her hair in a bob so stiff it looked engineered to withstand hurricanes. Karen didn't just enforce rules, she weaponized them. Ask anyone in Pine Ridge, and you'd hear horror stories. Her favorite targets? Single parents, elderly folks, the young Hispanic family with kids who played outside too loudly. Basically, anyone who didn't fit Karen's suburban ideal. I met Karen on day 3. I was working from home, debugging some client's network. Then I heard the purr of a BMW engine in my driveway. I stepped outside and her car was in my garage. Not next to it. Not near it. Inside it. Karen stood there, arms crossed, in designer jeans and a blouse whiter than her morality, clutching the clipboard like a scepter.
Excuse-me.
I asked.
Déteste my garage.
She looked up like I'd interrupted her royal decree. Emergency HNA meeting, she said. Your driveway's closest. I tried being polite. I need to get my tools. I have a job this afternoon. She didn't even respond. Just clicked past me in her heels and muttered, "You should try being more community-minded." 6 hours. That car stayed 6 hours in my garage. I had to reschedule the job. No apology. No explanation. When she finally came back, it was like she was doing me a favor by leaving. That night, I stood in my grandmother's old kitchen, staring at her picture on the windowsill. She fought city council for streetlights back in the 80s.
À ta woman.
What would she think of her grandson getting steamrolled by an HOA queen? The next morning?
Triviolation notice on my door. Bright yellow.
Taped like some suburban scarlet letter. And smudged from dew, but still readable. Violation number 1. Unapproved garbage bins placement. Violation number 2. Exterior curtains not in neutral tones. Violation number 3. Failure to trim grass within HOA mandated height. My grass was 2.5 inches. The limit? 3. I checked the rulebook. Twice. That's when I knew Karen wasn't just annoying. She was retaliating. She decided I was her next project. But what she didn't know, I'd been documenting everything. Security cams caught her car entering my garage. Date, time, clear as day. I had screenshots, video files, even a time-stamped Dropbox folder. Her perfume still lingered in the air like a war crime. I was starting to think the HOA wasn't just a nuisance, it was her little kingdom. So I got curious. I dug into state property law. And that's when I found it: involuntary tenancy. If someone repeatedly uses your property without permission, and you don't stop them, some states consider them an involuntary tenant. Meaning? If Karen parked in my garage more than once, she was occupying it. And guess what? That made her legally liable for rent. So I waited. Sure enough, 3 days later, boom. BMW back in my garage. This time, she even left a yoga mat and a tote bag in there. Thank you, Karen. You just became my tenant. I printed a notice and mailed it certified. Titled, Notice of Involuntary Tenancy and Rental Demand.
Rent due.
$350. Due date? Friday at midnight. I even attached the legal code. She was livid. Banged on my door. Called me a lunatic. You think you can extort the HOA board? She shrieked. No, I said calmly. I think you've been using my property without a lease. That makes this a civil matter. And I'm billing you accordingly. Then I smiled. Also, your car's inside. And I've locked the door. So technically, you're trespassing on your own tenant's property. Her jaw dropped. I told her I was going on a business trip. 5 days. Garage would remain locked until rent was paid. Then I left town. She tried calling, texting, even emailing HOA board threats. When I came back, neighbors were whispering. Karen had been seen outside my garage every day, waiting. By the time I returned, Karen was furious, but rattled. She hadn't called the police, likely because she knew how bad it would look. Instead, she started posting passive-aggressive HOA bulletins. Community reminder: property abuse will not be tolerated. Oh, the irony. I filed a formal complaint with the state housing agency. I also printed photos of her car in my garage, twice, along with a copy of my notice and her signature on a certified mail receipt. Then I did one better. I RSVP'd to the next HOA meeting. It was packed. Apparently, word had spread. I stood up and calmly walked to the front. Good evening. I have a brief presentation. Karen rolled her eyes. This is not the time. It's about HOA misconduct, I said. Specifically, the treasurer repeatedly trespassing on private property and retaliating with false citations. Gasps. Murmurs. Phones came out. I plugged in a USB and hit play. Clear video of Karen parking in my garage, twice. Her saying, "I'll move it when I'm good and ready." Then came the violation notices. And then, I played the voicemail. Her voice: "You should be grateful to live here. People like you usually don't last long in Pine Ridge." It was dripping with implication. And the crowd heard it. An older Latino couple stood up. "She's been harassing us for years." Another neighbor: "She fined me $200 for planting tomatoes." Then a third: "She called my kids' music gang noise." The room turned on Karen fast. She tried to defend herself, claimed it was all taken out of context. But the board suspended her pending investigation. She stormed out. That night, around 11:47 p.m., there was a knock on my door. Karen stood there, envelope in hand. No words.
Juste à Glar. Inside, $350. Cash.
"Consider this matter closed," she hissed. "Sure," I said. "Oh, by the way, you're banned from my property. Permanently." A week later, a U-Haul showed up. Karen moved to Florida. The HNA voted in new board members, instituted transparency policies, even held a block party. I was asked to lead the neighborhood fair use committee. I accepted. Later, I found out Karen had pulled the same tricks in a Florida HOA. But guess what? One of the new residents had seen my video. They used my legal playbook. Karen was shut down in 2 weeks. And me? I started a consulting business, helping others deal with HOA abuse. Every morning, I drink coffee in my grandmother's kitchen, looking out at a quiet, peaceful street. And I smile. Because in Pine Ridge, justice finally parked itself in the right driveway.